You're going to an unknown destination. You don't know what will happen next. And the worst thing is that you understand that with each next step you take, you are further and further from what you have. That is, you will not return, and it will never be the same as before.
This is how Evelin remembers the road to Kyiv. She arrived from Russian-occupied Donetsk to the capital in the summer of 2023. When the Russians occupied the city in 2014, Evelin was in third form. In 2022, she graduated from school and entered Donetsk University to study political science. The girl was not afraid to share her pro-Ukrainian position on social networks, and the Russian occupation authorities became interested in her past. Due to pressure, Evelin had to leave the university. She decided to move to Ukraine-controlled territory. To do so, she had to go from Donetsk to Russian Rostov-on-Don, then to Belarusian Brest. After the Belarusian border guards did not allow her to enter Ukraine, having no grounds for this, volunteers from Warsaw helped Evelin get to Kyiv through Poland.
We grew up in the context that Ukraine is absolute evil. Ukraine is Nazism, Russia is peace, it is the future and it is good. It is very difficult to be there because, after all, the propaganda that exists on the territory of Russia and the propaganda that exists in the temporarily occupied territories are two different forms of propaganda, and the one that exists in the occupied territories is harsher.
Russia is militarizing children and teens in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine, violating the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Human rights activists say children have Russian ideas planted in their minds through their curriculum, filling history and literature textbooks with distorted facts and outright manipulation. The so-called bravery lessons, meetings with Russian war criminals, and the hunt for teachers and students who study remotely in Ukrainian schools. This is how the system of so-called re-education is structured for the school year. During the summer holidays, Russian occupiers force school children en masse into camps with an accelerated program of Russian propaganda and military patriotic education.
The ideological education of children is divided into political and military. Politics is, first of all, to force children to somehow love the Russian Federation, to hate Ukraine, consider themselves Russians and not consider themselves Ukrainians. The second stage is to instill the image of an artificially created enemy. And at the third stage, militarization, children are taught to shoot, to kill, and not just like that, but to point a weapon at this enemy.
Similar practices are applied to illegally deported Ukrainian children. There are at least 19,500 of them. On June 2nd, it was possible to return 5 orphans to the Mykolaiv region from Russia, forcibly moved to its territory back in 2022. A week earlier, 13 more were returned. 7 were returned from the occupation, 6 from the aggressor country. In total, Ukraine was able to return almost 500 little Ukrainians from illegal deportation. In this process, Kyiv is being assisted by partner countries in the international coalition.
Today there are 37 countries there. The main thing is that the international coalition has pledged to use all the levers that these countries have to return Ukrainian children, public and non-public. The abduction of Ukrainian kids must be recognized as a war crime, genocide. We expect that the peace summit will bring additional leverage on the Russian side, change their position and speed up the process of returning Ukrainian children.